It's a Black Friday, another dark day in WWE as several NXT superstars have been released. We'll have the full story and the full list of releases for you. Plus, we have Bobby Lashley reacting to a crazy incident in Newcastle, UK, where the rope breaks. Cody and Stone Cold are set for the next Broken Skull sessions. Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch see eye to eye at the weigh-in, and NXT 2.0 heading back to Full Sail University. We'll see. We're going to jump into it in today's Freestyle Friday edition of the Top Story. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! Usually I'd start a little bit more peppy, but it is a sad Friday. But before we get started, what's up, everyone? Watch Out Army. Thank you for joining us here on the Top Story. It is a breaking news afternoon type of afternoon, as we found out that several NXT superstars have been released from WWE, and we're going to jump into that full list. As always, guys, make sure you are liking, sharing, and subscribing. We're well on our way to 29,000. We're right there. We're right there. We need your help. So get us there on our YouTube by smashing that notification bell and hitting that subscribe button. If you're watching us on Facebook or any of our other platforms, go ahead, like, share, and subscribe, and share with your favorite wrestling group or friend. Tag them in the conversation so they can join the conversation on today's news. So let's jump straight into the big story today. Several NXT superstars have been released. Big story that broke about a few hours ago by Sean Ross Sapp over at Fightful. And this kind of caught me by surprise, because there's some names there that I wasn't expecting. As per usual, when these releases happen, we get some names that nobody's expecting, but and that's the same case here. But let's jump into the details. Jeremy, what do you got for me, man?
I had a couple of people that thought were obvious cuts, and when Sean Ross Sapp, obviously, once Jose had put together the stories, of course, once he had it all put together, then this news broke. So yeah, there's some obvious names I thought that were going to be on there that were not, and then of course a bunch of shocking ones. Let's start with some of the lesser known names. Blair Baldwin, a referee, she was part of the releases there. She was with the WWE. She tried out in March of 2020. Her real name is Chloe Christmas. That's actually a good wrestling name.
Chloe Christmas.
Officially signed with the company last year. Mila Malani, also known as Kelly Morga. She was signed during the Vegas tryouts in 2021. Never made it onto television. But was released there. Raylan Devine was just signed with the company last year as well. Never made her in-ring debut. She was part of the Vegas signings during SummerSlam weekend last year as well. She is the sister of Mace, formerly of Retribution. Vish Kanya, also known as Sajana George, was signed with WWE in 2021. She had tryouts in India in 2019. She was one of the 4 people that made the cut, but could not make it to the U.S. as, of course, the pandemic hit. She was an MMA fighter in India. Wow. Now we get to the ones we know of, which are all you shake your head at. Young talent in Draco Anthony, of course, was in a program with Joe Gacy and Harland. Young guy that had a lot of promise. Looked like they were going to put a lot of backing to him, much like they did with Carmelo Anthony ever since 2.0 started. Persia Pirotta. I mean, that was a very shocking.
That was weird. Especially with that angle that she's been involved with Duke and Dexter and Indy. So they had a really good angle going on here for these last few weeks, and then all of a sudden Persia Pirotta's not there.
And now Dexter Lumis is not there either. Lumis.
And how are you going to fix that? Because that storyline was so good.
They're going to do the WWE thing and just act like it never happened and go on.
Like it never happened. Unbelievable.
Unless they pair Indy with Duke, because they always, they insinuated that Indy had a relationship with Duke before. I don't know. But back to Persia Pirotta. I mean, a great talent. I thought could have been a monster heel if she turned on Indy. I mean, she turned on Indy, but it turned more into a comedy 4-way angle with the men involved. But her and Indy were great together. very shocking that she was part of that. And then, of course, Dexter Lumis was the last name to drop. Another shocking one who was used constantly on WWE TV, part of the angle with the Way. And then they got married to Indy, and then had the angle with
Great
Duke.
wedding, by the way. I went to that
Yeah.
wedding. That wedding was great.
And and so that was a huge shocker because he was on TV week to week for a long time. Harland, I mean, come on, Parker Bordeaux. A lot of people made Brock Lesnar comparisons, thought this guy was going to
He
be
didn't live up to the hype, though.
No, and I don't know if that was because he was saddled with a crappy gimmick or just didn't have the talent. I don't know. But that was a big surprise. Then the two big ones, which were the two first ones that were announced, Malcolm Bivens, the best manager, one of the best managers in wrestling today.
In the industry.
Yeah. Probably outside of Paul Heyman, he's the best manager in pro wrestling right now. And it's insane that they let him go. The original Diamond Mine is literally down to Roderick Strong. The original idea was with Roddy, Marina Shafir, Hatcheman, and Tyler Rust. And so that was the original Diamond Mine. And now they're down to one on that. Malcolm Bivens, I'll get to in a minute here, but also the biggest name out of all of it, I think, is Dakota Kai. Very talented, insane that they could not find anything for her. Very talented, probably should have had an NXT title run. Never got to have that. Did get to hold the tag titles a couple of times. Was more than main roster ready as well. So it's very insane that they let Dakota Kai go. Malcolm Bivens, of course, tell you what, man, Tony Khan better get on the phone with him because he would be a tremendous manager for the infantry with Carly and Carly Bravo and Sean Dean, or put him with Shane Taylor Promotions if you sign them, or put him with Keith Lee and Swerve. You could put him with a lot of people. But if I'm Tony Khan, I get on the phone with him as soon as that 30 days is up. Speaking of the 30 days, with the from Fightful Select, everybody's got a 30-day non-compete clause. And I'll get that pulled up here. Jose, give us your thoughts on these releases, and I'll get the Patreon pulled up here for the other.
My thing here is now we're gonna have within a month's time, we are going to have a flood of talent on the market again, right? We're going to have all these free agents, especially the better known ones: Dexter Lumis, Dakota Kai, Malcolm Bivens. Those are your big ones that you're really paying attention to. Some of the lesser known names, what are they going to do? For the example of Parker Bordeaux. Parker Bordeaux doesn't have a wrestling background. He played football at UCF here in Orlando, and that's what he's known for. He's a big guy. He's muscular. He can be intimidating. But did he really cut it as a WWE superstar? I don't know.
They call him up too soon.
It could be they featured him on TV too soon. Maybe it was going back to what you said about the gimmick. Maybe that gimmick didn't really mesh well with him. I don't know. I don't think that they gave him enough opportunity to succeed. But in the WWE world, we've seen this time and time again. If you're not doing good or doing well or showing that you're improving, you're out of here. Yeah. We saw that in the last few rounds of releases. It's sad because we never want to see wrestling talent, have to go through this because it is tough. But there is a silver lining now that we have AEW and we have all these other and Ring of Honor is under AEW. Now we have.
And indies are blowing up. GCW, and Warrior Wrestling,
blowing up.
AAW. Where Kev's at tonight.
Yeah, exactly. So this could very well be a silver lining because there's still a lot of work available outside of WWE. So for the example of Malcolm Bivens and Dakota Kai, they weren't re-signing anyways. So this could be, for them, this could be like, oh, about time. Now I get to leave early. I don't know what they're thinking, right? But from the word that we've gotten from Sean Ross Sapp is that they all seem to be, at least the people that they've spoken to, is that they seem to be in high spirits and seem to be doing well. again, nobody wants to see anyone lose their
Mal-
job. But
Malcolm
at
was
the
on
end
his
of the
way to
day,
Zaxby's, man. Come on.
yeah, I know, man.
Yeah, Malcolm from the Fightful Select, they got more on the releases. Malcolm Bivens and Dakota Kai both were not intending on re-signing, which was kind of odd because Malcolm was being heavily featured, but at the same time, there's a lot more that he can do, and with the Diamond Mind, he could do a lot more than Diamond Mind because I just listed off who he could manage in AEW, and especially the infantry. Two young guys with like Carly Bravo and Sean Dean, who are both tremendous talents. Both are good speakers too. But if you add Stokely Hathaway to that group, that's immediately a tag team that could be on the rise. And if you got Shane Taylor Promotions, if you ever get them signed up, I mean, man, come on, man, that's going to be another tremendous manager for them. And hopefully, if WWE gets away from managers, hopefully Tony Khan embraces managers even more now. But
That could be something that'll set the AEW completely different from WWE because we're not seeing all that many managers. We only have Brock with Paul Heyman. I mean, I'm sorry, Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman. We did have Malcolm Bivens with Diamond Mine, but besides that, we don't have anyone else, right?
well,
Robert
we got
Stone,
Robert
Robert
Stone and LA
or
Knight right
Mr.
now,
Stone, Mr. Stone, right? So,
and
uh,
LA Knight
and
now with his new faction.
yeah, so
Yeah,
we'll
who's all
see.
in that? Like Mace and I can't remember who all joined that.
I have no idea. I
They haven't
haven't
even been on
seen.
TV yet. Maybe they might make their TV debut tonight. Who knows? But
We'll see. We'll see. It'll
yeah.
certainly be interesting.
So back to that Fightful article, John Laurinaitis. Hey, budget cuts, pal. We're running out of money. We can't.
People power.
We can't afford to pay you all. Apparently rumor. This is take this as a grain of salt, but a rumor was that they needed to cut $6 million from the budget. So, budgetary cuts from John Laurinaitis. 30-day non-compete for all that are involved because everybody was NXT. Source was told that there was going to be a significant push within WWE Digital to feature Malcolm Bivens even more. Harlan signed with a lot of hype, but coaches and officials said he had not progressed. One NXT official that contacted Fightful expressed frustration that several angles, acts, and stories were affected with little notice or preparation. Yeah, so that's about all we got to say about that.
I'm laughing at this comment from James Allward watching us on Facebook. I can't wait until AEW starts releasing wrestlers and see how their fans react to it. So I don't wish anyone to be released. I really don't because it's such a horrible experience, right?
And
But
Tony's not releasing anybody. Tony's just
he's
not
not.
re-signing.
He's just not resigning and letting those contracts expire. So I think it's a from a marketing standpoint, it's smarter, right? Because you don't have the release word attached to that, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but man, this is it's sad news to start the weekend. But again, silver lining, like I mentioned before, there's so much business out there for these guys in 30 days. So, best of luck to every single one of them. For more details, head on over to sportskeeda.com so that way you guys can get the full scoop on what's going on. But it is Freestyle Friday, guys, so make sure you get your questions in where you guys control the last part of the show. So make sure you save all those questions because we're going to go ahead and talk about that at the end of the show. Let's jump into our second story here as Cody Rhodes. Actually, no, not Cody Rhodes. We're going to jump into the other story that broke this morning because WWE was out in the UK in their UK tour.
Speaking of breaking,
Bobby Lashley and Drew McIntyre were involved in a matchup where Drew McIntyre was about to hit the Claymore, but Bobby Lashley, as he's hitting the rope snaps, falling outside of the ring onto his head. This one, I woke up this morning. That was the very first thing I saw all over my socials. So, what did you think of this when you saw this in the morning? And and we got Bobby Lashley reacting to this too.
Yeah, that was a scary moment watching that live. I don't know if you have the video pulled up at all, but man, just the way he quickly flipped over was very scary. But thankfully he was okay, and he even took to Twitter later on and said, "Some of y'all think I'm not the toughest guy in WWE." So he is okay. But God, if you watch that live, just the speed that he went over the top and flipped was just scary as hell.
Yeah, you do have the video here for everyone to watch. So we're going to go ahead and play the video so you guys can take a look at it if you have not seen it yet. It's quite surprising, but let me
Claymore. Oh,
now rewind that again for you guys.
Claymore. Oh,
You can see Drew McIntyre's genuine reaction, like
that was a botch. That was not supposed to happen.
No kidding.
So yeah, so tough fall. But again, we did get to see Bobby Lashley on Twitter and on Instagram where he reacted to it, saying that y'all are acting that like I'm not indestructible or something like that. So a scary moment there for Bobby Lashley, man. I thought I don't even know what went through my head. I'm just glad that he's okay and nothing seriously happened to him.
That could have been a lot worse than what happened.
Oh, absolutely, man. All right, man. Let's jump into the Cody Rhodes story because this one is pretty big. Cody Rhodes is going to be on the Broken Skull session, the next guest on the Broken Skull session, and this is going to be probably Stone Cold's highest viewed video since his interview with The Undertaker and Vince McMahon. This is going to be great because usually in the Broken Skull sessions, we'll see Stone Cold not backing down. He's unfiltered. He goes at it. So, interestingly enough, we're definitely going to get some AEW talk. What do you think on this, Jeremy?
Oh yeah, there's going to be a lot to discuss in this, and I think this is probably going to be the most anticipated Broken Skull session since Chris Jericho. There's a lot to discuss, a lot of answers that probably Cody hasn't answered until this podcast. So this will probably be a newsworthy type of deal here when this drops. When is it coming out? Next Friday, so a week from today.
We'll be after SmackDown.
Yeah, well, usually they'll put these up in the afternoon regardless, but they kind of soft push them out, but then kind of promote it for after SmackDown. But it'll probably be out there in the morning or afternoon on Friday.
And you know what I've been noticing too, that within WWE programming, not live programming like Raw or SmackDown, but like on other stuff, WWE doesn't have a problem mentioning AEW or another promotion. We've seen it in documentaries. We've seen it now with the Broken Skull session. So I'm very intrigued to see how this is going to come out when it drops, because every single hardcore fan, if you're a hardcore fan, if you're a Cody fan, you're going to want to watch this because he's probably going to divulge a lot of stuff that he hasn't been able to do on the bump, for example, like when he had that great interview on the bump, or we had that great interview with Ryan Satin. I bet you anything he's going to divulge some stuff that we have never even thought of.
Yeah, and and he had an interview earlier this week, so this might be talked about a little further in detail. He says, he takes the blame for the rift between him and the Bucks and Omega. So I wonder if he goes into detail with that too on Friday. It'll be very interesting. Some breaking news to follow up on our top story from yesterday. It has been just divulged by Fightful that Jessica McKay has been cast to star in the Charisma Killers film. So that might be an example of why they're stepping away from wrestling. So congrats to Jessica for landing her first feature film.
Yes, absolutely, man. See, this is what I was talking about. They probably are leaving the business to pursue something better. And if she accepted it, she finds it that it's something better for her. Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. I can't wait to see how she comes up on screen. That's awesome. Great news. Absolutely, guys. All right, man. Let's jump into our next story here. We talked about this a few days ago. Huge historic match going down in Madison Square Garden. And no, it's not between Bianca Belair and Becky Lynch. We already saw that in Dallas. It's going to be against Katie Taylor, the current WBC women's champion, against Amanda Serrano, the number one contender from Puerto Rico. They're going to be having a main event match at Madison Square Garden, with DAZN going to be showing the pay-per-view, and WWE co-promoting with DAZN. And today at the weigh-in, Becky Lynch, representing Team Katie Taylor, faces off against Bianca Belair, representing Team Amanda Serrano. The interesting thing about this whole story here, Jeremy, is the amount of money that WWE dished out to co-promote this thing.
Oh yeah. As Jose said, WWE partnering with DAZN to sell the fight, and WWE's promoted it on social platforms, and of course, a lot of people, as we mentioned, excuse me, a lot of people from WWE in attendance, and of course, headlined with Becky and Bianca with a very highly entertaining pre-show there. WWE was given nearly $500,000 for promotion, so WWE could promote, and so this is Stephanie McMahon was the broker of that deal. And so this is just another example of WWE doing business and generating revenue. Yet at the same time, now people are like, well, why did you cut all these wrestlers today when you're given $500,000 just for one night of promotion of fights? And
it's a business. It's a business. It's all about the bottom line, the profit, the profits, the revenue. And don't be surprised if we see, and excuse the noise, guys, I'm getting my kitchen redone. But don't be surprised if you see more of this in the future, where WWE does more collaborations with big entities like DAZN or ESPN, or I mean, I'm just giving examples, right? Where they do more of these things as opposed to partnering with wrestling promotions, what AEW is doing.
I think it's pretty cool to see, though. I think it's it's
too.
Unique. Yeah, it's something unique, and you know, and it adds interest to the fight. I mean, I was already interested in the fight. Obviously, Jose was already interested in the fight, but now you got probably a whole crop of people that weren't originally, and now maybe tuning into it.
Oh, absolutely. I think because you have the power of WWE with the superstars having, you know, setting up the teams, right, with Team Taylor and Team Serrano, and you have multiple superstars. I mean, you got Damian Priest and you got Finn Balor, you got so many different personalities that are going to be there. That is going to be like, okay, and don't be surprised if they promote it tonight on SmackDown. Like, tune in tomorrow to the Amanda Serrano fight on DAZN.
Guaranteed.
They're going to promote it tonight because it's a big deal. It really is. If you're not a boxing fan, that's fine. But this is a huge deal because it's the first time a women's boxing match is going to headline Madison Square Garden.
And I think it's a precursor to bringing Tyson Fury back into the fold as well.
That could be a very good point there, especially since he just announced his retirement last week. This could be a way to maybe start putting in the seeds, right? Like, is Drew McIntyre scheduled to be there? Ain't he?
I think so. I think I saw his name on there.
Damn it! It writes itself, Jeremy.
Oh, he's
going to write itself.
He
might be on the opposite side of the ring or whatever, right?
And there's your Clash at the Castle match.
There's your Clash at the Castle match. By the way, that's the new name of the stadium show in Cardiff coming up. So yeah, dude, I think.
Let's see if I can find that. I'm gonna see if I can find that list of people that are like the outside of the two main ones.
Yeah. So as we gather more information, this definitely is a fight to watch.
No Drew. No Drew.
Okay.
Sheamus, Finn Balor, Sasha Banks, Shayna Baszler, Damian Priest, Queen Zelina, Charlotte Flair.
Okay. That's why I was mistaken. I was mistaken between Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre. So, but regardless, even though he's not there, if Tyson Fury makes an appearance it'll be great. I think it'll be good. All right, man, let's jump into our last story before Freestyle Friday. Guys, remember, Freestyle Friday is a part of the show where you guys get to control the last bit with all your questions. So make sure you get your questions in, get your comments in. I see 109 of you in here watching the show for free. Go ahead and hit that like button. Smash it right now. I'm going to give you 3 seconds, 2 seconds, 1 second to smash that like button and share it with your friends. Tag your friends in the comment section so they can join in on the conversation or even ask questions on this Freestyle Friday. So go ahead, help us with the engagement. The more you guys engage with the show, that means liking, commenting, and sharing, the more people get to watch this. All right, guys? So
going back to that last story, I kind of wonder, maybe they keep that a surprise. Maybe they're both going to be there. Maybe they're keeping that a surprise.
Well, NXT has been in the news today, not only for the releases, but we got another piece of news from NXT today. And that news is that we might see NXT head back to its home of Full Sail University. Full Sail University is a local university here in Central Florida in the Orlando area, specializing in the media arts and TV, film, and music. And NXT or WWE has had a partnership with Full Sail University since 2012, and they've been producing and broadcasting NXT out of there until the pandemic hit, and then they amicably split up. But we're getting some word today from Uncle Dave that they might be reuniting.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think the main reason why was once the crowds were allowed again and the restrictions had eased up, which we're at that point now. They were going to start talking again, and so here we are, which is great because it's great because a lot of the students from Full Sail get involved with the NXT production and a lot of the side things that NXT does. So now this allows those students to get hands-on again and be involved. Plus, we get our return to the legendary arena that we know and love from NXT. And but it's going to be interesting to see what they do with it differently compared to the black and gold days.
Yeah, I agree. I think the space is bigger than the current PC format that they have, and and that's just visible from where the fans are to where the ring is compared to how it is at Full Sail. So it will be interesting to see how the setup is if and when they end up back at Full Sail, because it is a bigger venue and they can get some more people in there, and we don't have to see that stupid LED in the background with people with people moving up and down. Like we don't need that anymore. But we'll see, man. I'm excited. Full Sail's right next to my house. It's like literally like 5 minutes from my place. So if they come back, because now if I want to go to NXT, not only have to fill out the form from WWE, right, but I have to go to the Full Sail parking lot, get on a coach bus to go to the PC. So it's super inconvenient. So if it's back at Full Sail, I can just park at Full Sail, go to the studio, and we're done. So
yeah,
from my point of view, I want it back at Full Sail.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to have that back again.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So we have reached that part of the show where you get to control it with your questions and comments. So get your questions in right now because it's time for Freestyle Friday. All right. This is the part of the show where you guys get to control the last few minutes of our broadcast. So let's jump into some of these questions. I know a lot of you are still asking about the releases. Rodito Gonzalez, what's up, bro? What's up, Poppy? I'm doing well. Thank you. That's more than I deserve.
Before we get into Freestyle Friday, I want to give a shout out to AEW Rampage tonight because you want to watch a tremendous 6-woman tag match. Willow Nightingale, Trish Adora, and Sky Blue taking on the Jade and her baddie section. But it's I really hope after this we get something from Tony saying that he has signed Willow and Trish Adora because they deserve. They're two of the best women that are unsigned right now in the world.
Bradford Nathans is asking who was released. Well, Bradford, we covered that at the top of the show, but I'm going to run the ticker at the bottom so you can see the entire list of everyone who was released. Malcolm Bivens, Dakota Kai, Persia Pirotta, Dexter Loomis, Harland, Draco Anthony, Sanjana George, Mila Malani, Raylan Devine, and Paige Prinzivali. So quite a big list of names here today with the NXT releases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. A lot of head scratchers there, but a couple people that didn't want to be there. So now we get to be excited about their futures. So
we got a comment here from Noob and Co. 1991 watching us on YouTube. Thank you for the support, broski. We appreciate you. We love you. With Asuka finally returning to TV, do you want to see her turning heel or do you want her to work with NXT 2.0 talent?
I would rather her be a babyface. She's a lot more. She's especially she was one of those MVPs in the pandemic era because of her entertainment value. And since we haven't had her in so long, I want to see that Asuka, that entertaining babyface Asuka in front of crowds.
Yeah, I think right now, just based on how with the dynamic or with what character everyone is playing, keep Asuka as a babyface. You don't need to turn her heel right now. Let her enjoy that momentum of having that return, having now a little feud with Becky Lynch. We'll see where it goes after WrestleMania Backlash and see if that feud continues, or we'll see her maybe pursue the Raw Women's title against Bianca Belair. I'm not opposed to seeing her having a small run at NXT 2.0 because she never lost that NXT Women's title. So
Yeah.
I would love to see her go back and just whoop Mandy's ass. I think that would be phenomenal. I'm not opposed to it.
No.
All right, let's see here. Todd Laney asking us on Facebook, do you see any releases from the main roster?
If that report, again, take it with a grain of salt. If they're trying to cut $6 million, they didn't cut $6 million, I don't think, with this. So if that report's true, I might have to be on standby this weekend.
David Chisholm is asking on Facebook. Thanks for watching, David. We appreciate you. Hey, guys, I'm a huge wrestling fan. Me and my cousin have done a wrestling podcast before. I listen to your show all the time, and I've asked you all many questions. My question today would be, will y'all be willing to come to my podcast in the future once I have it up and running? I'm always down to collaborate. Hit me up on Instagram. Send me an IM or a direct message over there, or on Facebook. I'm always down to collaborate with
you. Maybe we could have an invasion. All of us come on. Just do an invasion
absolutely.
someday.
Molly Warwick, is it really Cass coming on Wednesday with MJF?
It gotta be. I think
it's gotta be. Why would you drop that line if it's not going to be him?
It's interesting because he's on a per date basis right now, but with Deanna also being on, it could be an Impact relationship again. But Cass could be signed too. I mean, his deal was up last November, so that's the real interesting part about it. But you still have other Forbidden Door things happening, so it just could be that type of situation too. But yeah, you don't do that without bringing him in. Plus, who else is a bigger monster than, like I said yesterday on the show, who else is a bigger monster than Lance Archer? Not many people, but W. Morrissey is. So,
and he's 7 feet tall, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, realest guy in the room.
All
right. Jason Morris watching us on Facebook. Who's going to be the third member of Judgment Day? If you guys watched Monday Night Raw, you guys probably heard during commentary that the new faction or the new group between Edge and Damian Priest is called Judgment Day. So there's been a lot of rumblings of Tommaso Ciampa, Rhea Ripley, possibly getting into the mix. I think those are two strong ones. I think right now the most obvious one probably is Rhea Ripley, because everywhere, if you look at the backstage area, anytime they're doing some type of a shot, a vignette, a promo with Rhea Ripley in the background, you always see a purple light in the background. So that for me is a dead giveaway. Tommaso Ciampa, on the other hand, I don't know, since he just attacked Mustafa Ali on Monday. Maybe he's doing a program with him. Right now, I don't see the need to have Tommaso Ciampa in the mix, but I think Rhea Ripley could be a strong contender.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Ripley. Yeah, but it could be Ciampa too with his actions. Who knows? Especially, I mean, his actions could lead Mustafa Ali to join Balor and Edge in this crusade. So that makes it 3-on-3 then.
Derek Woogieman Edmonds watching us on Facebook. Do you think WWE just wants to sign huge value talent? I think, in my opinion, I think that WWE will sign a talent, not necessarily a wrestler, but it could be a celebrity, or do something with them, right? If it makes business sense for them, as if it's going to bring more eyes to the product, if it's going to bring more money to the product. For example, Logan Paul, he's bringing all those eyes from social media. Bad Bunny, he's bringing that Latin American market, right? Johnny Knoxville, he's bringing all the people that, just watch entertainment and watch those type of movies. He's bringing all that fan base. So they'll do it as long as it makes business sense for them.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, people don't understand why they do it, but yet the reach these guys have that does not intersect with WWE is insane. So they're just trying to get those people to bring in new people.
Few more questions here. Valtsaya Tawari, with WWE intending to increase stadium shows, how will they manage to fill the stadiums? How many times will they bring back legends?
Well, the interesting thing about that story that broke, Dave Meltzer said, you don't have to sell out shows to be profitable. Once you cross over 15, 25,000, even though that stadium holds a lot more, you're already making profit more than you would in a regular arena. So you don't have to fill it to be successful.
And not only that, that they make money out of everything that's going on to the event. So they make money on the alcohol sales, on the food sales, on the merch sales. So you got to keep that in mind. Like, for example, SummerSlam last year, Allegiant Stadium, that place can sit about 50, 60,000 people, right? But the way that they had it set up, they kind of cut the stadium in half. So we only got about 40,000 plus in there, right? But it didn't matter because on TV, it looks okay. And plus, they were making all the money from the alcohol and the food sales and the merch sales. So at the end of the day, they're going to make money regardless if it's a stadium show or an arena show. One way or another, they're going to find a way to pull some profit.
Exactly.
All right, let's get one more question here before we head out. Let's see here. Kenneth Madura, I think we just answered this question. My question is about Judgment Day. Who will join them? Well, we just talked about that like literally like 2 minutes ago. I think Rhea Ripley is a strong contender, and possibly Tommaso Ciampa down the road. Let's see.
Here, we got one more.
Yep, go ahead. Victor Nash on Facebook. Jose, do you guys think WWE is pushing Mustafa Ali for holding out and wanting his release? Could possibly very well be, right? I mean, I don't know.
He was originally supposed to lose that match to Miz too before they rewrote it.
I mean, so what do you think? What do you think here?
Yeah.
I mean, do you think they're trying to make him happy and trying to make him stay?
Well, they should. They should.
They gave him a win. They gave him a win.
There's so much that they could do with him. There's so much they've done with him with these vignettes. And yet they did all these awesome vignettes about him being a cop and things like that. They never followed up with it and then gave him a crappy ass stable. So I don't know. There's so much you can do with him, but yet at the same time, there was so much you could have done with Dakota Kai. There was so much you could have done with Malcolm Bivens. There's so much you could do with Draco Anthony. So, and anybody else that got released and that they didn't do shit with. So, who knows with Mustafa Ali?
I love Mustafa Ali. I've been following Mustafa Ali since 2016, since the Cruiserweight Classic. He absolutely killed it. His stint in 205 Live with Buddy Murphy and Neville, that whole crew from like 2016 to 2018 was the absolute best 205 Live, best cruiserweights that ever came out of that. Yeah. And he was part of that. And I will never forget that, which is why I want him to be featured on more prominent roles. And I think that when he does everything he can to capitalize on the opportunity, but I feel like he's just being chopped right at the knees, right? Like you need to follow this script, like they won't let him loose. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not holding my breath for it, but hopefully, Vince heard the welcome back chants. He got a pop when he came back. He really surprised a lot of people because a lot of people don't read the dirt sheets like we do. So a lot of people didn't realize he was coming back.
He would have gotten a massive pop if they were in Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, it was more of a surprise pop. They didn't realize he was coming. But you're putting him in with a Miz, which is going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, a guy you see on TV every week. So that is not a bad program to be in. I got in a discussion with some people on Twitter about this week. It doesn't always have to be about the title push. If you're on TV every week and you're garnering a response, that is a win. R-Truth is winning, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think of some other examples. Dexter Lumis was winning until he got released. There's a lot of examples of people that aren't in title chases, but yet are on TV in front of the camera every week getting a response. And The Miz is one of those guys. Should he have more world titles by now? Yes. Should he have a better second reign? Yes. But he's on TV every week. He's getting a response every week. There's your money. Sami Zayn's another good example of how he's being finally used. Chad Gable, another example. Those are guys that aren't necessarily.
Thank you.
Shoosh. But those are some big examples. Obviously Gable recently held the title, but Sami Zayn's a big example. He recently had a title too. But those are big examples of guys, especially Gable and Sami, post their title runs. They're being used. They're on TV every week. Sami Zayn was on camera with Roman Reigns. So there you go. And he's in a program with Drew McIntyre. So
exactly. So yeah, these guys are working. These guys are being featured, so they're doing something right? If it's a boo or a cheer, they're doing something right. They're getting a reaction. So
yeah,
thank you. Thank you. We want to thank you for joining us here on this Freestyle Friday edition of the Top Story. Remember to give me a follow here on the social media on my IG, TikTok, Twitter at Jose G Official. You can follow Jeremy Bennett at JB Huskers on the Twitter machine as well. Guys, I hope you guys have a fantastic weekend. Check out that Amanda Serrano fight tomorrow with Katie Taylor. It should be a banger, so go ahead and do that. And we'll see you guys again back on Monday. Remember to give us a follow on the socials. Subscribe to Sportskeeda on YouTube. All right, we're well on our way to 29,000, so make sure you help us get over that hump and get us to 30 by subscribing and smashing that notification bell. And if you're watching on Facebook, share this with a friend. Share this in your favorite wrestling group and tag them so that way they can join in the conversation. We'll jump into the comments and talk with you guys. But we appreciate you. We love you. And as always, when you're watching wrestling, you have to do that one but most important thing, which is what, Jeremy?
Enjoy wrestling. Yeah.
Talk to them.
I'm a man.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!